Now this is one of the yards we all like to see. So welcome to another episode of Junkyards and Barn Finds with Sean, and I'm Sean. So yeah, you have to be a pretty hard car junkie to take your vacations looking for barn finds, or take your vacation going up to other states and walking through scrap yards. And that's true, I am. I mean, I've owned a bunch of cars, 35 cars to be exact. And I've collected Hot Wheel cars and been on car shows and car clubs most of my adult life. So we're in the You Pull It, and here's like a car corral that they have. And that, I'll tell you what, if we weren't just up here on vacation, that truck I would bring home. Because for $1,500, I don't care if the engine ran on that one. For $1,500, I go buy a $3,500 crate motor from Dodge, put a Hemi or something in there, or just a regular crate motor, and that thing would be an awesome truck. I love the patina on it. I wouldn't even paint it. I would just clear coat it the way it is. So, what do you guys think? If you got a truck like that, would you repaint it, or are you going to keep the patina and just clear coat the patina that it already has? Put in your comments. I'm kind of curious. And the more I think about that, it's only about $600 to ship it to Florida. I'm gonna have to think about that. I'm not leaving till tomorrow, and I may ship that one home. I mean, that's a nice looking truck. So we're gonna do what I normally do, and that is go to the farthest section of the yard and see what we find. Well, so far it appears that it's mostly new stuff in here. We'll keep walking and looking. Looks like the yard's fairly cleaned up. I don't know if they've just recently got rid of a whole bunch of stuff, but we'll do what I normally do. Okay, so we are way in the corner. We are way in the corner of this yard. So we will start our yard walk, and I'm gonna head up all the way up this row. If you want to walk with, you can. Not seeing a whole lot of stuff in here that is like prior early 90s, which right now early 90s is still what, 30 years ago. But I like finding yards that have stuff from like the 70s and the 60s in it too. Of course, growing up as an 80s child, that to me is old, but for you viewers, this might be old. So we're gonna just walk through. Wow, $1,700 for that truck. I think that's not really a bargain, but okay. So we'll just walk through, see what we find. Hopefully some interesting stuff. So it's one of the few third generation Camaros I've seen that has a good body on it. Engine's missing. This was just a V6. It's got some nice wheels on it though. So surprised somebody hasn't grabbed the wheels and the rear glass. You rarely see the third gen Camaros in that good of a shape, body wise, with the hood and everything. So this is actually a pretty nice sized yard, and it's very clean. There's not a lot of mud or anything. So I mean, if you look, you got two big sections here. So They said it's relatively 1990s and newer. So we'll give it a shot and see what else we find. Oh, what is this, an old Jeep? Nope, it's an old Ford. There's an old Ford truck. There doesn't seem to be too much of a demand for rims. A lot of these vehicles, they have some nice rims on them, and they're still on them. So the Isuzu Rodeo. Does anybody else remember Joe Isuzu? The commercials with Joe Isuzu? Whatever happened to Isuzu? Are they even in? I don't even know if they're still in business. If they are, or if you remember Joe Isuzu, put it in the comments. Let's see. Cut through here. Oh, it's a newer Mercedes. I know why the newer Mercedes are here, but those old Mercedes, I have no idea why they're still, while they're in a junkyard. Those things were pretty much bulletproof. Let's see. Well, I guess that's PT Cruiser heaven over there. Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PT Cruisers over here. Here's some old trucks. That, to me, are interesting. I mean, depends if you're somebody who, like, I forget this car's name. They were popular back in the day. So that's okay. Most of the stuff is your standard 4-door sedan or small pickup truck. A couple older pickup trucks. But everything down here is just pretty much generic minivan, you know, Mercury, Fords. Just well, here's something kind of interesting. I think it's a Duster. What year is this? 79 Plymouth Duster. So, pretty bad shape, but still, it's a rare car. You don't normally see Plymouth Dusters, especially 70s. So it's pretty cool. Cool. And let's see. Yeah, V8 car. I mean, this V8's trashed, but it's pretty cool. Somebody grabbed all the badges off it already. And that floor is not there, but it's just curious. So this thing has 34,000 miles. I'm thinking it has a little bit more than that, but it's a pretty cool 79 Plymouth Duster. Even had the racing stripes on it. Seems to be one of those cars that just got just came in because it just stopped running. It's not really that rusted. It's not really dented except for the hood, or I'm sorry, the trunk lid. But I have a feeling that happened here. The glass isn't even broken on it. So, but the glass is not broken. So that's a pretty cool find. So here's a car that I'm really surprised there's not more in the scrap yards, because when the LeBaron convertibles, even these GTCs came out, every rental car place had 1,000 of them, and you couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting a convertible LeBaron. And they just disappeared off the planet. I mean, I don't even see them. This is like one of the rare convertible LeBarons I even see in a scrapyard. And people can't be holding on to all of them. So, yeah, I don't know whatever happened to them. But let's move on. So this is a Chrysler Pacifica, and that's a Chrysler Pacifica, and there seems to be a bunch of Chrysler Pacificas in this yard. And I don't know if the yard just buys them that way, or if there's something about South Georgia or mid Georgia that these Chrysler Pacificas just seem to migrate here. I'm not really sure. But there seems to be a whole lot of Dodge parts in this yard. Hopefully you guys will know where I'm talking. If you're in Georgia and you want to come to this place, you know what's here. That's my whole goal, is to show you guys what's at different places. So if you need something, come on in. If you don't need something, or if you're looking for like an old car place and somewhere like this that basically has a couple 70s, but mostly everything is 90s and newer, then you know, hey, this is a place to get 90s and newer stuff. But that's the goal. So I'm glad you're walking around with me. And let's keep looking. Stop. All forklifts stop. And what's in there? Corn restricted area. So this is what happens to most of the cars here. So this is a scrap yard. So I mean, look at that Ford way down there. Let's see if we can get it. So that Ford pickup truck down there. So that is something that I don't know why it's there. Is it something they're keeping? Is it something they're not keeping? Is it something they don't want to part out? So this may be where some of the good stuff is, or maybe this is just where they pile up the stuff before they crush it. I don't know. So this is an old Thunderbird. What year? I bet you it's what, a 98? Ooh, a 90. So it's a 90 T-Bird. Back when this smashed. Believe it or not, these T-Birds were used for NASCAR. In fact, Alan Kawicki, before he died, he won the first Atlanta NASCAR race. I believe it was in '88, but he was the first one of the Atlanta NASCAR Winston Cup winner, and he was driving a Ford Thunderbird. And of course we have our Mustangs torn apart. I see a lot of blue Mustangs in these yards. I don't know why. Though all the newer bodies, the S197 bodies, which are your 2005, 2009, the blue ones seem to make it into the scrap yard. So I don't know if the red ones and the black ones, if there's something special about that or not. I'll have to look into that. There's a lot to look at. So I see a couple Oldsmobiles here. There's a 80s Oldsmobile. There's an 80s Oldsmobile. There's another 80s Oldsmobile. So I'm guessing because the parts are hard to get by. Here's a Buick. There's an Olds. Because I guess the parts are hard to get, a lot of them are staying in junkyards longer. Here's an Olds Regency. Saturn's the same way. Since Saturn's been out of business, it's hard to get parts for the Saturns. So the recycle industry has pretty much taken over that parts department. I don't see a lot of the Camaro Firebirds up here. Like I said, this seems to be more of a minivan, SUV, truck, family, four-door yard than anything else. In fact, I would say I've probably seen less sports cars in here than in most of the yards I've gone to. But it's not a bad thing, it's just a thing. I also don't see hardly any foreign cars, so they may not take foreign. I don't know. Let's see what else. I'm just looking, and just the noses, I'm not seeing a whole lot of stuff. This is evidently the GM section. A lot of Saturns. Like I said, a lot of family-owned vehicles. A lot of these HHRs, and here's the funny thing, is I bought one of these last year for like $1,400, and the HHR that I bought last year for $1,400 had like 150,000 miles on it. I bought it to let a friend use a car instead of renting one for a while, and we sold it for $1,400 after putting like a year and a half worth of mileage on it. So it didn't lose any value, didn't gain any value, and it was a neat little car. So had the battery in the back, which was odd, but they were fun little cars. I mean, if you can find one cheap, they're worth having. They're really utilitarian. They have a lot of room in the back. In fact, my brother used it for a while when his pickup truck broke down for his as a carpenter. So there you go. So here's an old Benz. Let me see, is this a diesel? I think it's the diesel. Man, these old diesels, they never die, so I don't know why this car's in here. I mean, seriously. I've watched people who own lawn care companies use these to tow their trailers with. But there's always a reason. Maybe it's because they left that sunroof open. So the nice thing is it's only about 60 degrees. But I don't know if there's any old stuff in here. Now there's a yard where it looks like a yard next door, and they have some old stuff in there from the 70s. But we'll see if there's anything here worthwhile to check out. So here's something from the past right here. A lot of you old farts like me who grew up in the 80s and 90s, it's like every family had a conversion van. And I think Mark III was the company that did them. If you look inside, I mean, all the body panels and stuff. Actually, this wouldn't be bad to come in and get all the body panels out, because you can make your own conversion van out of a new one. Well, look, it even has a VHS tape. There's even a VHS tape. So if that don't scream the 80s to you, I don't know what does. So, what movie is it? I can't tell from here, and I don't feel like walking to the other side and getting it, because it's going to be muddy and there's people working. So this must be the foreign car area, because there's a Beamer and a Volvo. and some Nissan trucks, Volkswagens, and that's the GM section right there. Like I said, there's a lot of trucks, a lot of family cars here. That over there is the Dodge section. And then Ford is way in the back. So, but I just don't see a lot of the fancier cars here. I don't see a lot of the, yeah, I just don't see a lot of fancy cars here. This is pretty much, oh, there's one of my Saabs. You guys know I like a Saab. So there's a Saab convertible. Probably a 2000, I would think. So yeah, there's a lot of family cars here, guys. There doesn't seem to be a lot of sports cars or high-end cars. But if you're just looking for something, if you're just looking for a part and you're over here, then it's a good place to come. So it's clean. It's not muddy at all. As you can see, everything's on stone. The staff seems really, really helpful. I've seen them out helping people. They have carts. They got tools. If you're a veteran like me, you get in for free, which is really nice. So this goes on my recommended list for parts. Not recommended list for classics, but definitely recommended list if you just need to get parts. All right, guys. Well, this is You Pull It in Augusta. It's a beautiful March day. It really is. It's like a beautiful day. It's perfect. It's like 68 degrees, 70 degrees, no humidity. Sneezing a little bit because of the pollen in the air, but that's just Georgia. And it's a good yard. It's a clean yard. A lot of stuff here. Not a lot of classics in my opinion, but if you were born in 2000 and you're 20 years old, there might be some classics here for you. Anyway, if you like this kind of video, please subscribe. If you want to follow me around or you want to put a comment. I appreciate all your comments, appreciate your likes, and appreciate you when you subscribe. So I'm right next to the You Pull It place. This is like a bonus. And I'm at a gentleman, his name is Willie. And he's got Willie's 24/7 towing here. It's right off, it's really right next to it. It's the same parking lot. I thought it was the same yard. And it's a Sunday. He's working some overtime. He really doesn't have time to let me in the yard. And because some of the cars there are other people's, he didn't want to let me in. But let me show you just from the outside, and he gave me permission to do this. So let me just show you what's here. Now this is one of the yards we all like to see. So, as you can tell out there, whoa. As you can tell, sorry, there was a wasp trying to fly on me. There's all kinds of older 70s cars. Like, check out this wood grain station wagon right there. That's cool. They got all kinds of stuff. They got buses. They got an old RV way back there. There's a lot of older cars here, I noticed when I was looking in here. So they're way in the back, and these are cars that people just left here and they ain't never came got. So there's a pickup truck right there. There's just a lot of cool stuff in there. Even here, look at this. You got a Datsun right here. That's pretty cool. So these are all cool cars. So if you need the parts for them, if you put in the comments, I'll give you his phone number. And it's just a fun place. So, and it's literally right there is the one yard that we just came from, and it's right next to it. So if you guys need some parts or anything, come see the gentleman here. His name is Willie. Super nice man. And if you guys need stuff, you can do that kind of stuff. So All right, we're off to the next one. We'll see what we find. Stay with me, guys. April, should they subscribe to this channel even if they don't like cars today for this one?
Probably just for this one.